My idea today was when I was brainstorming was to do an orange sky with kind of like eggplant color at the top. It faded down, and so I started doing some thumbnail sketches of the sky with some things, and then I needed a focal point, and I thought, well, it's autumn right now. If I want an orange sky, instead of doing trees like I was originally thinking, why not do a scarecrow in the distance? And then maybe have a moon and maybe dark or whatever. And I started thinking about it and stuff, and I thought, oh, maybe some furrows in the ground in a darker color against the orange, like I said, the eggplant color was running through my mind. And so I started drawing some pictures, and then pictures of fences and scarecrows and pumpkins, and I looked on the internet and saw a whole bunch of different scarecrow clothes and things to dress them up funny, and I decided, well, maybe I wanted to do a more close-up picture of a scarecrow. So I did some samples of scarecrows. I thought, oh, what about a witch? Because it's October right now. And I decided, instead of not having pants, that I'd add some pants to this dude. This lady had some sunflowers, and I thought the sunflowers and stuff were pretty. But I decided to go with this guy with a bandana and some patches on his stuff to make him more like a cowboy looking thing. And as I drew him out on the Yupo paper, I decided, well, why not do a raven or something too? So I looked on the internet to find a picture of a raven, and I sketched one out that might look good and added it to the pumpkin there. And I started out by drawing this horizon line to try to get where I wanted them placed on the paper. And then I just kind of drew them out. And next step, I'm going to use some Daler Rowney masking fluid. I'm going to decant it into a cup and use my angled color shaper to apply it to my picture, and then I'll be back with you when I'm done with that. Okay, I've masked the scarecrow. It's on Yupo paper again, and I'm going to put some blending solution and then some sunshine yellow, and some sunshine orange, sunrise orange, whatever it's called. It's called sunset orange. And terracotta. Get more orange in here. And up the top, there's that eggplant that I was talking about. And we're going to go down here with the orange too. And maybe a little bit yellow at the bottom. A little bit more blending solution down here. Okay, remember when you do your scarecrow, you can do it any way you like to. There's a lot of different things I saw on the internet that you could do that just gave me lots of ideas. It's like, what kind of hat do you want them to have? Is it going to be pointy or like a cowboy hat, or you want it to be a floppy sunbonnet? Choice is up to you. You could do a pumpkin face, or you could do the eyes different shapes, or like buttons. That's what I thought I'd do with mine. You could put a pitchfork into his hand, you can put dress on him, jackets, a vest, some bow ties. You can dress him up any way you like to. And then when you put him on your paper, you can decide whether you want to put him on a third, like I did. It's kind of like on this third of the paper, so that his face is like here. Or however you want to do it, whether you want to put them more in the distance, if you want to put a bird and put it on a shoulder, or someplace different, or a different kind of a bird, or no bird at all, or whatever you'd want to do. It's your picture. You can do whatever you want to. Let it drip down. I don't want too much. So that's how I got all this here that now needs to drip because I tilted it. But we do have it a little bit dark at the top. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. I should be wearing gloves I normally do when I pour. Okay, I peeled off my masking fluid. Now you can see my scarecrow, my pumpkins, and my Raven and the grasses that I did, and these are, remember those, I had run lines before this dried over here. It actually made some cool marks in the sky right here. You can zoom in so you can see. And paint in this background hill. And remember your ink spreads, so it's going to go up further than what you had it here. Kind of mix them with the orange. Make some pretty colors here. That's what's cool about ink right here. You can get some neat marks. And my purple and orange are blending together on my paper and causing it to be mottled like a brown color. I wish I would have done that correctly. Okay, I said I wanted furrows. In the front. This gives it some texture. It's not so plain. Almost seems like I could cut my picture off right there if I wanted to. It's almost like you need some leaves on the ground here. So what I'm going to do, since it's from my imagination, I'm just going to take and put to this stamping tool a little bit of terracotta and a little bit of orange. And consider making some darker leaves down here. Like it's fall and the leaves are on the ground. Let's see what we come up with. Add some more because it's getting dry. Thinking that I want some darker colors in there too. So, eggplant it is, eggplant and terracotta. Edges. Some along these edges. A little bit more. might actually get a fresh piece. This time I'm going to take some sunshine and some orange. Have fun with it. And I have some shadows down there, so I'm starting to like this now. And I thought that I had so many accidents. And what to do and what not to do. Play with it to make it work. I'm thinking that what I'd like to do is put a little bit of yellow in this hillside. Why? Because I think it would be cool looking. Because it's catching some of the light. Yeah. Gotta wipe some of the stuff that I pick up off on my paper towel. And then add more yellow. Because it's also picking up this icky color, so I'm wiping that off. And getting some yellow in here. That brings it more foreground, where this is more of the blue in the distance. So we have two different shades of the hills. And since it's textured, we could have it like a wheat field. After it's kind of been, wheat's been taken off and it's all kind of stubbly. Whatever we want there. And then, like I said before, we need some color underneath the pumpkins. We're going to put in the pumpkins in a little bit. Which way should the light be coming from? The light's coming from the back, so the shadows would actually be here, but we don't want the pumpkin all silhouette. So, let's have the light coming from this direction that way. So we should have a little bit of shadow on the front, and then over this direction, which means this whole pole will have a shadow. And I'm sure that's going to change some once you get the orange on the pumpkins. I'm sure it's going to move a little bit more. So, to lift out the mess that I have here, because I did make a mess because I forgot I took my masking fluid off too early. I have my pen here, and this guy, his claws are right here. I can still see, so that's part of his leg. Part of his wing was taken out, so we're just lifting out to try to get back the bird that we took out with ink. That was his back wing. Just wiping out the extra on my towel. I think this was part of his tummy. And it's starting to look better. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. Makes noise. This was part of his tail feathers coming back. My brush marker. When we get the darker colors back on there, we'll... Okay, and then this pumpkin should have been round. So this guck has to come off of here. And that was a little bit taller here. And this was part of the stem here. Which could probably somewhat leave some of this color here if we wanted to. Unless we want it to be yellow so it stands out against the brown behind it. Even though we didn't use brown, we have brown with the eggplant and the orange. Alrighty. Let's get his leg a little bit better there. Alright. I think that looks good for now. So kind of frames it by putting a little bit of dark in the corner there. I think it's looking pretty nice. A few final comments. The brush I was using was this Pentel Aquash water brush. There's other brands out there. What I did notice was when I was painting the Scarecrow, that I should if I was painting a second layer, it was best to let the first layer dry before I went over it with the second layer. Otherwise it was lifting too much. So that's a tip for you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about focal point. What's the focal point in this picture? Scarecrow. I'm kind of attracted to his face with the dark behind it. He's on the third mark, like I said earlier. This is all background, plus the color blue. He's a different color than the entire rest of the picture. So that blue and that red on his bandana is causing me to look at that, and it draws attention to it. I also did the girl, and for the girl I used cranberry instead of terracotta for the sky and for certain areas in it. But this is before I did my revisions. What I noticed before I did my revisions is we had all three of these faces competing for attention, plus this flower that, in my opinion, I have too big. And so I was trying to think of ways I could take attention off of her, or put the attention onto her, I mean, and so that these two weren't so in competition. So some things I did was I darkened her, the hat around it, and I added more details, and I added this little collar. So my the lightest light against the darkest dark would try to be the what of those three things attracted the attention. And so that's why it really helped getting that dark color behind her hat a little bit more darker, and just, like I said, more details. So now I think she is the focal point. And on this one, compared to the boy, I poured it differently so that I did not do the hills back here. My pour kind of looks like they are hills back in the background here. I still did some stamping down along the bottom, but I kept it simpler and didn't stamp the entire thing. And I did the fence, of course, and a hay bale. Just changed it up a little bit. And I've also included here a little line drawing, so if you guys wanted to do it and don't like drawing your own, you have something to copy to do. And hope you will go out and have fun making your little scarecrows, and enjoy yourselves and decorate up your own and just have fun with it. And I'd love to see your pictures when you're done, and take care. Bye from Tammy Crawford Art.